What is space security? The secure and sustainable access to and use of space, and freedom from space-based threats. This definition refers to the security of outer space as an environment that can be used by all for peaceful purposes. 2018 was a busy year in space.
I'm happy to join you in marking the 50th anniversary of the first United Nations Conference on the Exploration and Peaceful Uses of Outer Space.
Voyager 2 left the protective bubble of the Sun.
The SpaceX Falcon 9 carrying tests.
We encourage the developing countries to participate.
This is Hayabusa 2 in action.
NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft is going to actually arrive at the asteroid Bennu.
A Space Force as the sixth branch of the armed forces.
So what I tell young girls and young women is to bother.
Touchdown confirmed.
Kenya's first satellite developed by the University of Nairobi in collaboration with the University of Rome has been launched into space.
We're incredibly excited to talk more about the BFR rocket and announce the first private astronaut.
Three, two,
We have ignition and liftoff.
China's lunar rover touched down last night on the far side of the moon, the first ever soft landing on the far side.
The security of outer space is becoming both more essential to life on Earth and more precarious. Here are some of the themes that stood out in 2018 as told by our researchers.
Access to space increased dramatically in 2018. There were 114 space launches, which placed 461 satellites into orbit. This is the highest number of launches since 1990. These satellites were launched on behalf of 43 states, as well as 3 European organisations. 2018 also saw strong growth in civil space activities, with the establishment of 7 new national space agencies. This signals more investment in space, as well as growing access. Common reasons for this new investment included improving domestic monitoring of natural resources, communication services, national security, and industry and economic growth. Furthermore, 2018 also saw an increase in the participation of African states in space.
Space, by providing global information, is allowing the world to achieve more with less. Space-based technologies are becoming increasingly integrated with environmental, socio-economic, and humanitarian security on Earth. 2018 also marked growing collaboration between bodies who are leveraging outer space capabilities to address climate change on an unprecedented scale. There are also a number of initiatives attempting to bring the internet to underserved regions in 2018.
But the biggest changes are being driven by the commercial space industry.
In 2018, telecommunications continued to dominate the commercial space industry, with applications in television, radio, and broadband internet. The focus of the telecommunications sector remains on trying to meet the growing demand for data and general service availability across the globe. Demand for smallsats in 2018 remained high, with 328 smallsats being launched, comprising 43% of total 2018 launches. 6 times as many smallsats were launched in 2018 as compared to 2012, the continued growth of this industry highlighted by the fact that 71 organisations manufactured smallsats for the first time. 2018 saw the most launches worldwide since 1990, with 24 out of the total 114 orbital launches being commercial in nature.
The progress on plans for constellations of tens of thousands of satellites presents one of the most fundamental changes to the space environment. The SpaceX Starlink constellation alone is licensed at 12,000 satellites.
Dramatic increase in space activity is adding stress to the safety and sustainability within the space environment.
Space debris remains the most pressing threat to the sustainability of the space environment. Since the launch of Sputnik, there have been approximately 500 fragmentation events on orbit, with 8 of those occurring in 2018. Debris-causing events have generated approximately 129 million pieces of hazardous debris of varying sizes. There are guidelines in place to mitigate the production of debris, but so far compliance has been largely insufficient. Data from 2018 suggests that compliance continues to be insufficient, particularly in low Earth orbit, with no significant trend for improvement. 2018 did see the first demonstration of debris mitigation techniques and technologies on orbit. However, there is no clear political or financial means to implement the systems.
Investment in additional capabilities to monitor the space environment by a variety of government and commercial actors continued in 2018, with new policy direction in the United States. The trend is toward the collection of a greater diversity and amount of data, but the precision of data remains a limitation to safety. We currently track only 1% of hazardous objects in space. Collaboration is also challenging. These limitations are particularly problematic in the face of vastly more traffic in low Earth orbit and more complex on-orbit activities.
More intense use of outer space is increasing competition for the use of finite radio frequency spectrum and orbital positions, with challenges in 2018 centered on technology transitions to 5G broadband, the Internet of Things, and satellite constellations.
Space is also becoming more critical for military operations on Earth. 8 states launched a total of 89 defense-related satellites in 2018. This is increasing strategic competition in outer space and driving technological changes related to security.
In 2018, we continued to see evidence of electronic jamming of satellite systems, in particular of global navigation systems. These capabilities became more widespread in the past year. The development and demonstration of counter-space capabilities, including of directed energy and kinetic capabilities, also continued. Last year, more evidence emerged that countries are developing various dedicated anti-satellite systems.
However, there's continued investment and capabilities for protective measures in space, including resilience, repair, and rapid reconstitution of space systems. One of the trends is that these activities are no longer the exclusive domain of military and security interests. Capabilities for rendezvous and proximity operations are being developed by a range of commercial, civil, and military actors for a variety of uses, including satellite servicing and refueling. The security of space systems is becoming closely entwined with questions of safety and sustainability.
Governance initiatives are not keeping pace.
In 2018, there has been a number of activities in multilateral forums concerning space security. First, the agreement of the 21 Guidelines for the Long-Term Sustainability of the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Use of Outer Space has shown a critical and concrete step forward, and this has shown an opportunity to reinforce the role of the committee in terms of space governance. Secondly, for the Space 2030 process, there are new governance initiatives for the GGE and UNDC. However, consensus are not being met because of the deepening divide remain, in particular the issues on the question of security.
But there is evidence of new opportunities for progress, including international cooperation for space exploration and lunar missions, and collaborative efforts to respond to natural hazards, such as threats posed by asteroids and space weather. We've also seen a growing role of regional bodies, civil society, and private sector engagement in governance issues.
There's rapid change in how we use and access space. This includes new actors, new technology, new geopolitics, and new time horizons. These changes highlight the limitations of the current governance framework for outer space. And while the gaps we face are not new, the momentum with which space activities outpace governance is increasing. If ignored, we risk reaching a tipping point at which safety, sustainability, and security in outer space becomes less and less feasible. To prevent this, we need to build bridges. We need to address the linkages between safety, security, and sustainability, because they are entwined, and to close the gaps in institutional responsibility. We need to promote common interest across the many users of outer space, including civil, military, commercial, and scientific actors. We need to identify and discuss diverging national approaches to space governance. And most importantly, We need to find topics on which we can start to build international consensus. The Committee on the Peaceful Use of Outer Space is a natural starting point for all of these tasks. Detailed information on each of these points can be found in the 2019 edition of the Space Security Index. Covering 17 indicators related to the security of outer space, it remains the only comprehensive assessment of its kind. It is produced by a partnership of academic and civil society organizations and includes research provided by 17 students at 3 universities. On behalf of our partners, thank you for watching.